Do you have a broken PS3? Is it not reading discs? Well, I had the same problem, so I'm going to go ahead and show you today the easiest way I found to replace your laser in your PlayStation 3. Now, I have the original, I'm pretty sure it's the 60 gig model from when it was originally released. My laser lasted over 6 years, so that's pretty good. But that is the model I will be working on today. So if you have a different model, the instructions might be slightly different. There might be some different screws, some different brackets, etc. But it should be pretty similar throughout all of them. This is a $40 fix. You might be able to get it cheaper. I bought my laser on Amazon. It came in a package like this. I thought I read some of the comments that it said it actually came packed pretty well. I didn't find that to be the case. I thought it was okay. I mean, this is like a little bubble mailer. Then it comes in a box in here. And then you open this up, and I thought I was seeing people show like a clamshell thing that was plastic, and it looked like it would protect it a lot more. And then it's just in a little piece of, another little bubble sleeve here. You pull that out, and voila, here's the whole, I don't know if some people were just getting, the little laser component here, but this is the whole thing. This will make it a lot easier to swap out, if you ask me. The model number is KEM 400 AAA. So that's basically what you want for most of the models of the PlayStation 3. You can probably get away with, not get away, but you can probably use a different model if you have a different one. So with that, I'm going to show you a few tools you're going to need. We'll put this off to the side. Tools. You just need some sort of set like this. It doesn't have to be this exact set, but these will all be helpful in some way. You're going to want a 00 Phillips head. That will get most of the screws out. And the other one you're going to need is a T10, a Torx 10. That'll get, I think there's only one screw that actually uses this. You got a standard set of tweezers. That's going to be helpful, especially if you drop a screw in there, or some of the screws, they're not always great about picking the screws out. So having a pair of tweezers is handy. So that's a nice little handy set to have. You'll want that. You'll want a standard Phillips head screwdriver. You'll want a can of air because if you haven't opened your PlayStation up in a while, it is going to be dirty. Mine, I've had mine for over 6 years. It was dusty. So while you're in there, give it a good blowing out and you'll be good to go. The other thing you're going to want is something like an iPad, or you can use your iPhone, you can use a computer that's near where your workstation is, because basically you're going to want this video on there so you can keep kind of pausing it, do what I show you, watch a little bit more, pause it, do that, watch a little bit more. It's going to be easier if you got something handy next to you. If your computer's handy, do it on your computer, that's fine. You will want a disc, any Blu-ray disc or CD, anything that's readable. You want it to be readable, not just a blank disc, because you want to make sure that the laser actually is reading. One other thing you'll need, you don't need something this fancy, but you're going to want some sort of, it'll be helpful to have some sort of X-Acto knife or some sort of blade or something. There's just a few things you got to do. So with that, let's get into the first screw you're going to have to take off of the unit, or the first phase of the disassembly to get in there to get to the laser. Okay, before you begin, you want to make sure you get your disc out, okay? Eject any disc you have in there, get it out. It's going to make it so much easier to do things later, and you might get jammed up if there's a disc in there. Then, once you have the disc out, go ahead, unplug your HDMI, unplug your network, unplug your digital audio if you're using it, unplug your AV cable if you're using it, and unplug the power supply. Just put all those off to the side, you'll need them later. Then you're going to want to flip the unit to the hard drive side. This is the hard drive, okay? And basically what you have here is you have a void warranty sticker. you're going to want to remove this. Now this is where you will come in handy for one of these kind of X-Acto tools, okay? And basically what you just want to do is be careful because you don't want to scratch up your unit. Just peel, just get enough of it off that you can peel it up. Once you get a corner up, you should be able to peel it right off. Mine's already been peeled off, so it's even easier, but put that off to the side. You can put the X-Acto blade away. You won't need it for a little while. My screw is already out, but I'm gonna show you how to get it out. Actually, I'm sorry, you'll need the X-Acto blade for one more thing. You might be able to use something else. I kind of tore mine up a bit here, but there's this kind of plug that's right in here. And what you're gonna wanna do, I just put the X-Acto blade in and I just kind of wiggled it out. And there it comes, okay? I kind of tore mine up. It's not completely necessary to be in there. It's not gonna be integral to the system or anything, but put it off to the side because you'll put it back in. You might as well. X-Acto blade off to the side. Now, this is where you're gonna utilize your toolkit and you're gonna pull out the number 10 Torx and basically just stick your screwdriver in there, line it up with the thing, unscrew it, pull the screw out, put the screw off to the side. Now what I would suggest is that you come up with a system where you put all your screws in order as you go, okay? So I'm gonna put this up over here at the top. You can't see it, but I'm gonna put it in order at the top. Once you have that done, then this lid basically just slides, okay? It'll slide like about an inch, and then once it slides that inch, you can just lift it up. It comes right off, and there you go. Put that off to the side. You won't need it for a while. Now what you have is you have about 6 screws, 7 screws actually, okay? And this is gonna be all Phillips head stuff, okay? So what you're gonna have is you're gonna have one here, one here, one here, one there, one, let's see if you can see this, one there right next to the drive, one on the other side of the drive, and then one more over here, okay? So take your time and just start unscrewing. This one over here in the back corner, it's away from the drive. This one is a smaller size, okay? It's a little bit shorter than the other 6 that you're gonna pull out around here. So just keep that off the side and just remember that one goes down here away from the drive back corner, okay? And then just take them all out. Now, my suggestion, once you get them all unscrewed, use your tweezers to basically just pull them all up. And they should come all up if you unscrewed them all the way. All right, I was never good at the game operation, but as you can see, that wasn't too hard. Okay, now this part is not gonna feel right to you. The reason I say that is because it's going to feel like you're forcing it. Basically, this top part is undone now, so you can lift it up. What you gotta do is lift it up from the back. It's almost gonna feel like you're breaking it, but ultimately, you're not. If you got all the right screws, you'll be okay, okay? It just kind of locks in there. It's very hard to get off and it's very hard to go back on, all right? This is gonna be one of the toughest parts of the whole replacement of the laser procedure. To put it back on, I say basically kind of line up the front, get it in there real tight, and then basically you're just gonna press down. You're gonna hear little snaps and clicks. It's not gonna sound right, but don't feel like you're breaking it. As long as you got the right screws out, the 7 screws on the top, it will come off. Also, the screw that I talked about at the beginning that I didn't show you how to pull out, but is already out, there's a little retaining clip here, okay? It's just this little clip, and it doesn't stay in the top, So if you turn the top upside down, be careful. It's easy to put it back in. There's a little notch in there, so it should only be able to go in one way. It goes in there, and then that little screw basically will go through here, and that's how far down it is, and that's why I didn't put it back in, because it was kind of a pain to get in. But don't lose that piece, because if you want to put the screw in, you're going to need it, because that's what the screw actually ratchets onto. So much like the other piece of the other part of the top, just put this off to the side. You're done with it for now. What we're concerned about is here. This is the drive assembly, okay? The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take this cable right here and detach it, okay? It detaches to the main part of the PS3, the motherboard, whatever you want to call it, right here. All you have to do is pull it up. Just be careful you don't yank on the wires too much, but it's strong enough that you should be able to pull, pinch and pull, try to grab as much of the little white connector piece as you can. Put that off to the side, okay? Now you have basically a loose drive, okay? The only thing that was holding this drive in was those screws that went into the top portion. So the drive is free now, except for if you flip it over real carefully, you'll see that there's a ribbon cable on the bottom. These ribbon cables are standard kind of ribbon cables that you see in computers if you ever opened one up and used it. The first one we have to undo is this one, okay? Try not to bend this up too much. That should be okay. You should be able to flip it like this and you'll be okay. Just be careful you don't like drop the drive and it'll yank the ribbon out or something like that. And then it's real simple. The little black lever here, if you can see that, it's a little black lever. Basically all you use is your fingernail, just pull it up a little, boop, and there comes the ribbon. It comes out, okay? And now your drive is free. Now you can take the rest of the PS3 and just kind of put it off to the side. We're done with that. The order you do these screws in doesn't necessarily matter. There's essentially one there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, okay? I'm gonna start with this one just so I can explain it. This one right here, this is a dampening mechanism for the Blu-ray. Make sure that this one goes in exactly the same place it's in with the dampener. And then undo this. Same thing as before, put these in the order you took them out, so you know which order they go back in. All right, so you have 4 ribbon cables here. Go ahead, same thing with your finger. 1, 2, and all you're doing is just lifting up the little flap, and then the ribbon should just pop right out. Boop. All right, and then you got one here. Same thing. Ribbon should just pop right out. Okay, this one, on the other hand, is going to be much harder, and trying to pull it out from here is going to be very difficult unless you use maybe a tool. So what I would suggest is that you flip this thing over. And actually, I'm not sure that actually has to come out. So let's verify that that actually has to come off before we pull it out. This thing, you're just going to wiggle it kind of out. It's kind of down under this other piece. Just wiggle it till it comes out. And then just again, because it's on that little tiny cable there, just be careful of that when you flip it to the side that you don't damage that cable, the little red and blue or red and black 2-wire cable. I don't know if it's a power cable or what. This, now you should be able to, let's see, this part should just basically come off now. You have a top and a bottom piece. The bottom piece, okay, should just kind of come off. That's this piece. Technically, I guess it's the top, I suppose. I don't know, could be the bottom. But basically, it just kind of, if you were to lay that down, okay, like that, this piece would slide in like this and then rest this back part down, okay? So you put the drive assembly, the drive insert first in here, and then let it sit down in there, and that's how it sits. and then just reverse the process to take it off. Again, put this off to the side. Also, you can take this top part off. Top part just comes off like this. Just kind of go up and out that way. And again, put it off to the side. Okay, then what you're going to want to do, so I don't think we have to at this point take the red and black wire off, so I'm just going to leave that there. But what you're going to want to do is then flip this over. Be very careful though, because now this is just dangling. There's nothing holding that kind of in place. All right. Okay, so the screws here are, there's one here, one here, one here, and then one here and here. So there's 4 on either side of the thing, on the mechanism, and there's 1 at the top. So we'll start here. And this is the last one. Again, it's in the middle, and pop that up. Now, if they didn't come up properly, use your tweezers. Grab your tweezers, pull it up. Again, create a new pile. This is 5 more screws. They look similar to the other ones, but I would not mix the screws up and try to use them differently than what's been prescribed here, okay? The other thing is, now this is something I messed up when I put it back together. This is a magnetic spindle holder. Basically, your disc goes in, and this must kind of go in, you know, kind of press up against the disc or something when it's in there or something. I'm not sure exactly how the mechanism works, but when I put it back together, the mistake I made, and now this just should rotate like that, okay? The mistake I made is I put it like that. I put it actually on the little mechanism here, because it like latched onto it and it felt right. That is incorrect. No bueno. Do not do. You try to put a disc in, it won't go in because it'll be blocking it. It needs to be, flip this back this way. Again, pay caution to your black and red wire here. This, remember the orientation. So basically when you put it off to the side, try to put it off to the side so you remember the orientation it's supposed to go in. Although it should be pretty clear. If you put it in like that, it's just going to shift around. It's not going to make any sense. But if you put it in like this, it'll still shift, but at least it's shifting within the mechanism there. And when you try to pull it up, you'll feel just a tiny bit of magnetic pressure. So again, that is wrong. Don't put it there. Wrong. All right. I just want to be clear about that, because you don't want to put the whole system together like I did and have to take it all apart again because it's supposed to go there. Okay. This is correct. Correct. Got it? Okay. Pick it up off to the side, put it down with the same orientation so you remember. Flip this up and then unscrew the 4 screws here. Again, I was not going to do this section because I didn't want to take my laser out again. There's a couple of little touchy things in here I didn't want to mess with, but I felt like the tutorial would be incomplete. Take your screws, again, create a new pile in order. Try to keep your order set on where you put your screws so you don't get lost. This is very simple. These 4 screws, they're very logical on which ones to pull out. This part is kind of easy, but there's one little tricky thing in here with the ribbon cable I wanted to show you so you don't get lost. Now this ribbon cable is kind of in a tenuous spot, okay? And but it's not that difficult. This one though, I would probably go to your tool set and look for just a standard flathead, and I would use a flathead just to kind of pry it up a little, okay? And it pops right out, okay? Now you should be able to pull the laser mechanism out. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, I forgot the main one. Don't forget the main one. Okay, that's right here. Just use your finger. This one should be easy. Okay, undo that. Cable comes out, and now this is out. Now this is my replacement one. This is the one I just put in. It works. So we're going to go ahead and reverse the process. Put the mechanism in here where it's supposed to go. Again, wiggle it in. Try not to Try not to, you know, you don't have to jam it in or anything like that. But then this cable here, there's a little channel here. I don't know if you can see this on camera, but there's a little channel here. All right. And this is where the ribbon is supposed to go. It actually has like little retaining spots for the ribbon. So I'm going to put this in just so you can see. So basically that's where that goes, and that folds up there. So let's flip this back over. Okay. Open this back up. And now what I would do is I'm going to go ahead and put the screws in, even though I don't have the ribbons in. Because what I want to do is I want to give the thing some stability before I start messing with the ribbons. So we're going to put this first cable back in here. And now replacing these cables may seem like it's, you know, kind of hard, but it's not. All you have to do is line it up, pull up the little thingy, the little tab thingy, and then push it in. And there's usually like kind of a line that indicates like how far, you know, you need to go in. It's just really not that far. And as long as it's even in there, just press down, you know, try to use 2 fingers and press down on the whole thing, and it should clamp it down. Now, again, the tougher one is this one over here. Okay. It's down in there. It's not super difficult. Open up the mechanism first, and then you may need to use 2 tools. Like I think I use the flathead and the tweezers, and I kind of like, I kind of just push it down in. I make sure it's in there, and then I kind of push it from the back of the ribbon. I know this is, I'm not really showing you this close up, and I might go back and shoot it here in a second. But it's not really complicated. Just push it down from the back of the ribbon with the flathead, and then close the little latch lever thing. And then as long as it looks like it's in there and it's even, like in other words, the ribbon isn't like at an angle, you know, too much, where you're seeing a lot of extra indicator, or you're seeing white on the other side of the indicator, then you know you're in pretty good. Now, take this again, and now I knew I was thrashing this cable pretty good, and it did come loose. Basically, this is the little cable I was talking about. It did come loose. It's a pain to get back in, but whatever. I guess I'll be showing you that next. So put this back on. If your cable stayed attached, you should have just been able to kind of flip it back that way. Okay. That's not, you know, a horrible thing that happened. In a way, if you're going to be doing this, you may want to just go ahead and detach it anyway, because you have to, you know, sitting there trying to be super careful with this, you might end up actually doing more damage by doing it that way. So grab your screws, all right, and we're going to grab our 5 screws here, okay? And remember where they go. Very simple. One there, one there, one there, one there, and one there. Doesn't matter the order. Okay, so now that's back together. Spindle, okay? Drop in. It should stay. All right, flip this over. And now we're gonna have to put the this piece. I didn't show you, but because it fell off technically. I didn't actually pull it off. It's not too hard to figure out how it goes back on. Basically, there's a little lip here that it catches on, and then these things right here kind of catch on the lip, and it should go. There's a little screw hole there, and there's screw holes there and there. If it's on right, those screw holes should line up. Now we're gonna deal with this thing, this bear. All right, this thing's gonna be a pain. I hate it. And as you can see, I messed with it so much it actually ripped through the retaining tape here. That's what happened. That's why it came loose while we were doing our thing. There's a little channel here that it sits in. I'm going to go ahead and kind of put the retaining tape at a bit of an angle, kind of to make it so it'll retain a little bit more since it actually tore. But that should be good enough. I mean, it's not critical. And then which way this goes in is very, that's the toughest part, is trying to figure that out. So I'm just going to try here. I'm going to grab my tweezers because I can't even get a hold of this thing. That's the other part of it that's annoying. Grab your tweezers, grab just the back half of the what do you call it? And I got it in on the first try, so that's awesome. And then just use the tweezers to kind of push it in. It doesn't go in very far, okay? Then make sure all your ribbon cables are above this mechanism, okay? So you got 4 ribbon cables, this one, this white one, the blue one, and this blue one. What you're gonna wanna do now is get this piece, okay? And this piece, you could probably put the other cables in first. Actually, it's this brown cable is supposed to kind of go under the mechanism, and just the little piece is supposed to be sticking up so you can actually put it in. So make sure you do that. Again, there is little retaining things in that channel. You'll see them once you can look at this yourself and up close. It's very easy. You'll see it. All right. And then this board actually sits on top of the this back plate. So really put this back plate on first, and then this board. Okay. The other thing you want to make sure is, because it'll fool you, you'll think you got it, but you don't. There's this, what you want to do is take this lid, and it should go on the back here first, okay? Because it kind of fits into some grooves. So put it in the back and then lay it down, okay? So like this, all right? Back first, this back part, at an angle, okay? See how it's at an angle? Get it at an angle and then sit it down in. And you'll be able to tell if you got it. And also, again, make sure you don't cover up the ribbon cables, all right? And there's 3 ribbon cables there and 1 on the edge. All right, and then before you tack anything down with screws or anything, double check that this is a tight seal here and that it's close, okay? If you don't have it right, there'll be a little gap because these little, there's like little retaining clips down here that will hold it up from sitting properly. Again, this board and this heat sinky thing, whatever this is, this metal stuff, it keeps coming loose, but once you get it seated, it'll stay on. There's a couple of little dowels that stick up that will make this board sit properly, okay? And then just make sure you have all your cables accessed. The final cable comes from the other part of the unit, but you should have 1 brown, 1 white, 1 blue, and 1 blue on the side, all right? Now, again, I like to screw things in a little bit before I start putting the cables on, because when you put the cables on, it's, you know, I like a little bit more of a, oops, that's not a proper hole. The holes are 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 there, 1 there, and then the 2 up there from the other pile. This is not a hole, this one here, not a proper one, neither is this one. Okay, so don't try to put your screws in there. It's right on the edges. Once you have your 5 screws in there, go ahead and put your cables back on. Again, I like to use the flathead sometimes to help out. Very carefully pull up your black little cable retaining things, whatever they're called, I don't know what they're called. And then you should just be able, these cables are pretty easy to get in, and just get the cable, get it as straight as you can and push it in. And then once it kind of goes all the way in, push down your retaining bar, and again, you will see that there's like a little black strip that's on the blue cable that kind of, if it looks straight, then you know you're good to go, okay? If it doesn't look straight, then go ahead and redo it. And then do the same thing for this cable and this cable. Or these 3 cables. Sorry, there's 3 of them there. The brown cable is the only one that's a little bit weird, that makes it, it's got kind of a, it's a little bit harder to tell if it's straight, but if you feel like you put it in straight, because these are easier to do, these cables, I think you'll be good. Now the little spindle thing did come off, but just kind of put it back on there. It might come off again. The magnet should hold it enough, but it looks like it's kind of not powerful enough to hold it right there. Now on this one, this is that dampener thing. This needs to go on the same side it came from, okay, which is the side that the power cable came off of, all right? And put it in exactly the same way as it was, and you should be good to go. If you put it on wrong or in the wrong spot, oh, I'm sorry, actually, I skipped a step. You need this part, okay? You got to put this back the way it was. And actually, I skipped a step because these screws can't go in where they're at. They need to go in through here. So technically, I did that wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and undo these. So before you put this in, just make sure this spindle is still attached there magnetically, and then drop this in, okay? You're basically dropping it in like this. Oops, let me get this over here. Drop it in like that. It'll fit snug, okay? Perfect. And now you can put these 3 screws in. This is that's a part that is easy to miss because you feel like these are all separate things and they go together differently, but now when you go to do the dampening screw mechanism thing, I don't know the words for any of these things I'm talking about, but this thing should go in right here, and now because you have the other piece to it, it'll go in nice and tight and snug, and it'll feel like it's supposed to be there, where before the screw was just kind of going through and not touching anything, not grasping onto anything it can screw into. And there you go. Your mechanism is done, okay? Now you need to start pulling together the PS3. All right, pull this up, and we're reversing the process. So it's basically this ribbon cable and this power cable are the only 2 things we need to attach. The easiest way to do it is figure out the orientation of the drive, okay? The felt thing, this is where your discs go in. That's on top, okay? So just hover it there, and then just rotate it to the side like this, okay? And then look at how the ribbon cable sits in here nicely, okay? It's at, it just comes to an L, okay? There's a little bend here. So don't twist it up to try to get it into the thing. Basically just kind of figure out, okay, if I'm in here like this, then this drive's got to sit like this, okay? So basically then you just want to do, just pull the cable up. Let me see if I can get a good shot of this. Okay, so basically just pull the cable up so it goes in there like that, because that way when you rotate it in, it'll sit flat just like it's supposed to. Pull the little retaining bar up for the cable, ribbon cable, and then just push it in. All right. Once you get it in there, sorry, I'm having trouble. It's easy to put in, but I'm kind of doing 2 things at once, watching what I'm doing on screen and doing this. All right. Once you get it in there, use your other finger, your kind of free finger, and then close the mechanism. But push down on the mechanism on all sides of it, so you're not just pushing in the middle. Make sure you just kind of collapse it on all sides. Now you can just drop this down in. Okay, that ribbon cable folded flat. All right, I got a lot of wrinkles in my thing here now. And then the drive has got little spots where it lines up with screw holes, okay? Just make sure you get it lined up there. And the final thing you do before you put on the cover is you got this thing, and there's only one way for it to go in. It's keyed. It goes in right there where we took it out. Press it down in. Okay. I don't feel like it's going in good. Let's Put this in again. Okay, there it goes. Take the excess cable and just kind of push it down on top of it, right in there. Kind of get it out of the way of the mechanism and all that. Okay, now we go back to the hard part, or one of the hard parts. I mean, there's been a few. Putting this back on, for me, has been a pain. Now, I've done this like 3 times now, so it might go on a little bit easier. Maybe it's getting a little bit looser as it goes. Just line up this front edge, okay? The top front with the bottom front of the clamshell. I mean, it's not really clamshell because it's not connected, but get it in there and then just kind of rotate it down and back and then just start pressing down and it should just kind of sit in there. All right, and you'll be able to feel the front. The front should feel pretty, I mean, it might not feel exactly lined up, but it should feel pretty close to lined up. And then you'll be able to tell because the screw holes will be lined up, and that's the critical thing. So grab your Phillips head screwdriver, standard Phillips head, grab the longer. Remember, you have a shorter version too. You have one shorter one. We'll save that for last. Take your longer ones, and 2 long ones go on either side of the drive mechanism. So just drop them in. If you want, you could actually just drop in all of the screws where they're supposed to go. So there's 2 there, and then 1 here. Let's drop that in. Okay. And if you follow this procedure, if you start at the power button and go to the left and around, all right, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, let me get this on camera here. Oops. All right, so we did 1, 2, 3, all right, 4, 5, okay, 1 more, 6 here. Now there's another screw hole here, and remember what this one is, that's the smaller one, okay? There's actually a little S here. I don't know if that means small or if that means anything. Could mean super duper, I don't know. But go ahead and put the smaller one in that slot. Then tighten them all down. Okay, so now all the screws are in. The last bit is to take the cover. Now keep in mind, if you wanted to, you could theoretically turn the thing on and check out the drive mechanism to make sure it works. It's not going to hurt you to button it up and undo everything, but you know, it's kind of like that's your, however you want to do it. Personally, the 3 on this goes towards the front of the unit. Just put it in there, and again, it'll slide over 1 inch and lock in. Now, it's loose right now. The other thing you need to make sure is that the little retaining bolt, I just popped it back out, but just so you can see, that the little retaining clip is still there. Because if you do want to screw it in, I'm going to try, but like I said, it was a pain before and I couldn't get the screw in. So again, this just goes on top, just fit it in tight right against the edge here. It should go right into the holes, and then just slide it to the right and it'll stay. If you want to try to put the final screw in, again, you grab your Torx 10 wrench, Torx 10 driver, okay? And I mean, it's just so hard to get in there because it's so deep. You know, you could try holding it like this, you know, upside down and trying to, you know, get it in from the top. But it's a pain, but it goes in here. If you think you can get it in, I'm not going to try again because it was a pain and this could take forever. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to take the little piece of rubber that kind of covered the hole, and I'm just going to put that in there. Now, what does that mean for me? Okay, that means for me, my lid just comes off like that. Okay, if that's going to bother you, go ahead and finish the process and get that screw in there. What I would say is just figure out how to get your driver magnetized and it should be easy to do that way, but mine aren't, so I don't know how to figure that out. Okay, so once you got that done, make sure the power is off, okay? And then just start plugging in your devices, or I'm sorry, your cables. All right, no, the order of the cables does not matter. I'm gonna plug in power just because it's closest, and kind of go arbitrary after that, random. All right. You may not have the same cables, or you may not be using audio, digital audio. Now I'm just gonna leave the unit right here. I'm gonna turn the power on in the back. We have power light, so that's good. And I'm gonna turn the power on. All right, it seems to be turning on. That is also good. I got a disc to try out. Now, if you don't wanna I can't promise you if you did this wrong or something that it would, maybe it would scratch your disc or ruin your disc. So you may wanna take a disc that you don't necessarily care about to put in there first. I have high hopes that I did this right and everything will work, so I'm just gonna go ahead and try a disc, just the disc I have. So just put it in. Okay, it took my disc, but I'm gonna be honest with you, it was a little bit rough putting the disc in, but basically I'm going to the menu right now. Okay, for those who have issues, know that when you go to the video thing, it won't read, and there it is, there's the disc. Let's see if it reads. Well, as you can see, it's reading the disc, so I think we did a good job. Yep, we got disc. Let's make sure we got audio just for safety's sake. All right, we have audio. Well, there you have it. There's the tutorial on how to disassemble your PS3, install a new laser assembly, and reassemble your PS3. It worked for me. It's reading discs now. I don't know how long it'll last. My first laser lasted 6 years, so if I can at least get another year and a half out of this until the PS4 comes out, I'm a happy camper. Also, for people with issues like the yellow blinking light of death and the red blinking light of death, I have seen some suggestions online about if you open up your unit and you do this or that to it, that it could fix those issues, at least temporarily in some cases or permanently in others. So by watching a video like this, at least you can see how to disassemble the PS3 to a certain extent, at least to get the Blu-ray drive assembly off, and then reassemble it. And the process of doing that has got to be very similar to the way the other half of the unit would be taken off, the power supply and all that. So by saying this, hopefully it'll help you. If you like the video, like it. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to comment below, and subscribe if you like my videos. Thank you. Or you can do like I did and I got it here. I'm just gonna close this out, it's done. All right, that.